You grabbed it because it seemed like the healthy choice. Clean label, natural, maybe organic. Coconut milk has spent a decade being positioned as one of the smartest things you can add to your kitchen. And most people who buy it have no idea that some of these cans leach hormone-disrupting chemicals directly into the fat. That some of the biggest names on that shelf contain a preservative the FDA requires disclosed specifically because it can trigger serious breathing reactions. And that one of the cult favorites, the $3 can that recipe bloggers keep pushing, quietly swapped one dangerous compound for another and told nobody. I went through every major coconut milk brand in the American market, pulled the FDA import alerts, the independent lab analyses, the ingredient panels, and the sourcing records. 8 brands to avoid, 3 that actually held up. We go from lower concern to the most serious. By the end of this, you will know exactly which cans to put back and exactly which 3 are actually what they say they are. Number 8. Goya Coconut Milk. The blue and yellow can, a fixture in American kitchens across 3 generations, not because of advertising, but because of genuine trust built over decades in Hispanic households across the country. Grandmothers reach for it. Their daughters reach for it. That depth of loyalty is exactly why this is worth knowing. Independent ingredient analysis has flagged Goya's canned coconut milk for containing polysorbate 60, an emulsifier that animal studies have linked to gut inflammation. Right next to it on the ingredient panel is guar gum, a thickener associated with digestive disruption, particularly in older adults whose intestinal lining becomes more vulnerable with age. Then there is the can itself. Goya cans have historically been lined with BPA. Bisphenol A migrates into fatty, acidic contents like coconut milk, and that migration accelerates when cans sit on a warm pantry shelf for weeks or months, which is exactly where most people store them. For anyone managing blood pressure, taking blood thinners, or dealing with IBS, this combination matters more than a quick label scan would reveal. Polysorbate 60 can compromise the gut lining. Guar gum has been documented to slow medication absorption. BPA mimics estrogen and disrupts the endocrine system in ways that take years to show up on a lab panel. Goya pulls in over $1 billion a year. The science on BPA has been public for over a decade. The decision to keep those ingredients is sustained by one thing: a 3-generation customer base that trusts the label without reading it. Number 7. Thai Kitchen Coconut Milk. The clean white can with blue script, sold at Walmart, Kroger, and Target as the simple, approachable choice for weeknight curries and Thai soup. What most shoppers don't know is that Thai Kitchen is owned by McCormick, the large spice conglomerate. That detail doesn't appear anywhere on the packaging, and it changes the context of what you are actually buying. The standard non-organic version contains guar gum and comes in cans that are not certified BPA-free. But the bigger issue is what FDA import alerts have repeatedly flagged on Thai coconut imports: sulfite residues used as preservatives during processing that do not show up on the finished product label. The FDA requires sulfite disclosure when concentrations exceed 10 parts per million. Import alerts show Thai coconut shipments have routinely tested above that threshold. Open a can, and there is a sharp, acidic edge under the coconut aroma. A few bites into a curry, a faint sting at the back of the throat. Most people blame the spice or the heat of the pan. It is the preservative. Sulfite sensitivity becomes more common with age. People with asthma or COPD can experience worsened breathing within minutes. For anyone on ACE inhibitors for blood pressure, sulfites can trigger unexpected pressure drops that resemble a fainting episode. McCormick's response has been silence. No new supplier, no reformulation. Consumer habit is cheaper than change, and Thai Kitchen is counting on that. Number 6. A taste of Thai coconut milk. Restaurant quality positioning. The brand that promises Bangkok-level flavor in 20 minutes, aimed at home cooks who want something a step above the standard options next to it on the shelf. The marketing is effective. The ingredient profile does not support the premium. Independent analysis of imported Thai coconut products has detected traces of inorganic phosphate additives, compounds introduced during processing to extend shelf life and stabilize texture. They are not naturally present in coconut milk. For anyone managing chronic kidney disease, a condition affecting a significant portion of Americans over 65, added inorganic phosphates accelerate bone mineral loss and vascular calcification. Aging kidneys cannot efficiently clear excess phosphates. Instead of being filtered out, they accumulate, pulling calcium from bone and stiffening arteries in people already taking statins to keep those same vessels flexible. The light version makes it worse. It is thinned with water and additional stabilizers, which dilutes the medium-chain fatty acids, the lauric acid, that give coconut milk its only genuine nutritional value in the first place. The slim can looks premium. The contents are a diluted version of an already compromised product. That is not what most people think they are paying for. Number 5. Silk coconut milk. The half-gallon carton in the dairy aisle. The one that signals plant-based wellness from across the refrigerator section. Silk markets its coconut milk as the heart-healthy, low-calorie swap for coffee, cereal, and smoothies, stocked at eye level in virtually every American grocery store. Then you read the ingredient panel. Silk coconut milk contains less than 2% actual coconut cream. 2%. Everything else is filtered water, gellan gum, locust bean gum, and in older formulations, carrageenan, a seaweed-derived thickener that peer-reviewed research has linked to intestinal inflammation. The flavored varieties add 8 to 14 grams of sugar per cup. That is more sugar than a chocolate chip cookie poured into the coffee someone switched to specifically because they wanted to be healthier. The vitamin D added is synthetic D2, not D3. The body absorbs D3 significantly more efficiently, a distinction that matters more with every decade past 50, where vitamin D directly affects bone density, immune response, and cardiovascular function. Pour silk into hot coffee and it curdles at the edges. That is the gellan gum failing under heat. The chalky aftertaste that lingers is locust bean gum. You are not buying coconut milk. You are buying gum water with a coconut image on the carton. Number 4. Chowco coconut milk. The orange and white can with the smiling coconut. One of the highest volume brands in American Asian grocery markets, and until recently, a Costco staple, specifically sought out for its unusually thick, almost custardy texture. Then, 2021 arrived. Investigations by PETA and subsequent confirmation from the Thai government established that Chowco's supply chain relied on forced monkey labor. Pigtail macaques, taken from their mothers as infants, chained and trained to climb trees and throw coconuts down, for shifts of up to 16 hours a day. When that became public, Costco, Wegmans, and Stop & Shop all pulled Chowco from their shelves. The brand did not disappear. It shifted to smaller retailers and online platforms where awareness of those findings is lower. The smiling coconut kept smiling. The sourcing issue is not the only concern. Chowco cans have tested positive for BPA migration. The specific risk with a high-fat product like coconut cream in a BPA-lined can is insulin disruption. BPA mimics estrogen at the hormonal level, interfering with insulin signaling in ways that are especially consequential for adults who are pre-diabetic or managing insulin resistance. Fat absorbs BPA more readily than water. Coconut cream is almost entirely fat. Every additional week in warehouse storage means more migration into the contents. Sanitation records from Chowco's parent company have also flagged mold contamination in processing facilities and water quality issues at the source. Pulled from Costco. Still on Amazon. Still on shelves in stores where customers never saw the headlines. Number 3. Native Forest Coconut Milk Standard Line. The earth-toned label, the eco-conscious packaging, sold at Whole Foods and natural grocers aimed precisely at the consumer who already does the research, who reads ingredient panels, questions supply chains, and pays extra because they believe the product reflects those values. Native Forest built its reputation on one specific promise: BPA-free cans. For shoppers trying to avoid endocrine disruption, that was a meaningful differentiator. It is also only half the picture. Independent testing found measurable levels of BPS, bisphenol S, in Native Forest standard cans. BPS is what the canned food industry switched to after BPA's hormonal effects became too well documented to defend. The problem is that published research has since raised the same concerns about BPS, comparable endocrine disruption, similar associations with insulin resistance, similar effects on thyroid function. The industry swapped one bisphenol for another and called it an upgrade. BPA-free on the label is technically accurate. It is also strategically incomplete. The standard product also contains guar gum, which has a documented interaction with levothyroxine, the most prescribed thyroid medication in the United States. Guar gum can reduce effective drug absorption by up to 30% within a single dose window. Someone who takes their thyroid medication in the morning and uses native forest at lunch is not getting the full benefit of that prescription. The demographic most likely to buy native forest is also the demographic most likely to be managing hypothyroidism and taking the exact medication that guar gum undermines. They read everything on the label. They just could not read the chemical disclosure buried in a corporate testing document that almost no one will ever find. Number 2. 365 by Whole Foods coconut milk. The house brand of the store that built its entire retail identity around the promise of cleaner food. Just bearing a Whole Foods label communicates that someone already checked, that the store's standards extend to everything inside it. Here is what that trust is actually resting on. 365 coconut milk is co-packed by third-party manufacturers in Thailand. The same FDA import alerts that flag Thai Kitchen for undisclosed sulfite residues apply to the same category of Thai coconut suppliers producing 365. Whole Foods does not operate the factory. They set a purchase specification and trust the overseas manufacturer to meet it. Consumer Reports testing found that Whole Foods 365 long-grain brown rice scored among the worst for arsenic, and the same transparency gap extends to their coconut supply chain. The store's identity promises scrutiny. The sourcing structure relies on the same offshore commodity networks as brands with considerably worse reputations. The ingredient panel includes guar gum, carrageenan in some formulations, and natural flavors, a legal placeholder that requires no disclosure of what the flavoring substance actually is. The independent lab measurement of coconut content in the 365 product came in at approximately 60%. For a product sold at a premium by a retailer whose entire brand promise is knowing what is in your food, a 60% coconut content figure with undisclosed sulfite exposure risk and the same Thai supply chain concerns as the budget brands is not what the checkout price implied. Number 1. So Delicious Coconut Milk, Organic Line. This is the cult favorite, the one recipe bloggers link in every dairy-free roundup. The brand positioned at the intersection of ethical sourcing, organic certification, and accessibility. Available at mainstream grocery stores at a price that feels like a reasonable upgrade. It is number 1 on this list because of what sits behind the organic seal and what the brand did when the concern became public knowledge. So, Delicious Organic Coconut Milk has tested positive for carrageenan across multiple independent analyses, even in reformulated versions that removed it from the standard label. Carrageenan is a seaweed-derived thickener that has been the subject of substantial peer-reviewed research linking it to intestinal inflammation, compromised gut barrier function, and in animal studies, tumor promotion in the colon. The National Organic Standards Board voted to remove carrageenan from the approved list of organic additives in 2016. The USDA overruled that recommendation and kept it permitted. So Delicious kept it in. The flavored coconut milk beverages add up to 14 grams of sugar per cup, while marketing themselves as a better daily choice. The vitamin fortification uses synthetic forms with lower bioavailability than whole food equivalents. And the brand, now owned by Danone, one of the world's largest dairy conglomerates, has continued to leverage its independent health food identity in marketing, while operating inside a multinational supply chain, where the organic certification tells you the coconuts avoided synthetic pesticides, but says nothing about how the product was processed, what was added at the plant, or what the container lining is doing to the fat inside it over months of shelf time. The FDA specifically requires carrageenan disclosure on ingredient labels. It is there, in a font size designed to be skipped. That is the avoid list. 8 brands, documented ingredient problems, flagged supply chains, regulatory alerts, and in one case, a sourcing scandal serious enough that major retailers walked away. Now here are the three that actually held up. Best option number 3. Native Forest Organic Simple Coconut Milk. Same parent company as number 3 on the avoid list. Completely different product. That distinction is the entire point. Native Forest's Simple line was created specifically to address the ingredient failures of their standard product. The ingredient panel reads, organic coconut, water. That is the complete list. No guar gum, no polysorbate, no locust bean gum, no carrageenan, no natural flavors acting as a sodium delivery system. Nothing that is not coconut. Critically, and unlike the standard line, the Simple cans are documented as both BPA-free and BPS-free, with third-party testing published by the manufacturer to back it up. That level of transparency is genuinely rare in this category. Not rare as a marketing claim, rare as an actual published practice. USDA Organic, certified and non-GMO project verified. Open a can and the cream is thick, nearly solid at room temperature. That is what real coconut cream does before it has been cut with stabilizers or diluted to hit a lower cost target. The aroma is clean and tropical. No chemical edge, no sulfur at the back of the throat. For anyone on levothyroxine, the absence of guar gum means the medication absorbs the way it is supposed to. At $4 to $5 per can, about $1 more than most of the avoid list. Given what you are actually getting, that comparison is not close. Best option number 2. Aroy D Pure Coconut Milk, Tetra Pak. Finding a cleaner ingredient list matters, but the most effective move in this category is not a better label. It is getting rid of the can altogether. Aroy D sells its coconut milk in shelf-stable Tetra Pak cartons. That one decision eliminates the BPA and BPS problem at its source. No metal lining, no bisphenol migrating into the fat over months of storage, no trace chemical aftertaste in your curry. The contamination pathway that runs through nearly every other product on this list simply does not exist here. The ingredient list has 2 items, coconut extract and water. Independent lab analyses of Aroy D consistently show coconut content around 85%. The Whole Foods 365 product came in at 60. The gap in what you are actually receiving, real coconut versus filler, is substantial enough to show up in every recipe you use it in. Open a carton and pour some into a glass. The cream moves slowly, the way coconut milk with real fat content behaves. It coats the inside of the glass. Heat it in a pan, and it emulsifies smoothly into curry, the way coconut milk worked in Southeast Asian kitchens for centuries before gums and sulfite stabilizers arrived to make the industrial version cheaper. 0 sulfites, no guar gum, no carrageenan, no hidden sodium. Available at H-Mart, Asian grocery stores, and online. $3 to $4 per carton, less expensive than several of the brands on the avoid list. Best option number 1. Thrive Market Organic Coconut Milk, BPA-free can. Thrive Market's house brand coconut milk earns the top position because it solved all 3 problems at once: ingredient panel, container safety, and price, at the same time, without asking you to choose between them. The ingredient list: organic coconut, water, organic guar gum. The guar gum is disclosed, present at a low concentration for texture, and the brand does not hide it. What it does not contain is carrageenan, polysorbate, natural flavors, sulfites, phosphate additives, or locust bean gum. The cans are verified BPA-free with documentation. The organic certification covers both coconut and the gum. Independent coconut content testing has placed Thrive Market's product above 75%, meaningfully higher than the diluted carton brands and comparable to Aroy D. The price, at approximately $3 per can through Thrive Market's membership model, makes it the most cost-effective clean option in the entire category. The Thrive Market model also means direct accountability in a way that most co-packed brands cannot match. When the house brand fails, the retailer's entire member relationship is at stake, a structural incentive that third-party co-packers supplying Whole Foods or Target are not operating under. That incentive produces a different kind of quality control than a purchase specification handed to an offshore manufacturer. Tonight, check whatever can or carton is in your pantry. Look for guar gum in the first 4 ingredients. It slows medication absorption. Look for carrageenan. It is on the label because the FDA requires it. Look for natural flavors, and ask what that phrase is covering. Look for BPA-free documentation that is actually published, not just printed on the front. The 3 products worth keeping: Native Forest Simple, Aroy D Tetra Pak, and Thrive Market Organic, all say exactly what they are. All have removed the concerns that every other brand on this list chose to keep. The labels on those 8 cans have not changed. The research behind these concerns is not new. What changes now is what you know when you are standing in that aisle.